I don't know if you can see this, Jen, but the cliff is 3 days from now. The economic cliff. So we're facing mass evictions because the moratorium is up. We're facing the $600 extended unemployment being up. And a lot of people have no health care. And a lot of people are either in Anthony's situation. Well, not a lot of people, because that's a different situation. But a lot of people right now have no idea what the hell is going to happen. And the Republicans and Democrats, let me just show you Chuck Schumer's tweet so you have an idea. Have a nice weekend, Schumer told a reporter at 2:50 in the afternoon on Thursday. Meaning, the Democrats are going home and the Republicans are going home. The deadline will pass, as far as we could tell, for the unemployment benefits, and people will start getting evicted depending on what your state moratorium is. And, you know, I don't want to do whataboutism here. Obviously, the Republicans control the White House, control the Senate, so they have the control right now as far as they could just extend the $600 unemployment if they wanted to. They could do a lot of things. So the Republicans are certainly at fault here. But this situation was even allowed to continue. And when I say the situation, I mean, I'll read this Washington Post story. Republicans right now looks like they want to cut from $600 extra a week down to, it seems, $150 to $200 extra a week, which is over half cutting the extended unemployment. Murmurs about another $1,200 check, but that's not guaranteed. For that, they demand a corporate liability for business people, meaning you could rush your workers back to work, not put any, legitimate safety measures in place, and you're free. You're not going to be in trouble. Blanket corporate liability. We're hearing they want capital gains cuts in there. But basically, yeah, the Republicans are at fault because obviously they're the ones in control. But the Democrats enabled this by agreeing to the original storm and sandwich in the first place. And the Democrats, I said 3 weeks ago, why isn't Nancy Pelosi in front of cameras right now? Why are we waiting till the last minute? Let me read the Washington Post story so you know exactly what's being negotiated or proposed. The White House and Senate Republicans on Thursday failed to reach an agreement on a broad coronavirus package to offer Democrats as part of negotiations, stumbling over numerous provisions as different factions in the GOP bicker over the path forward. Their continued impasse will push them right up against the deadline for expiring unemployment benefits at the end of next week. Sensing it's not the end of next week, it's July 26th, so that's Saturday. I don't know what they're talking about next week. Sensing the potential economic calamity of pulling back these benefits for up to 30 million people all at once, Treasury Secretary Mnuchin suggested Congress should consider a smaller bill to keep these benefits in place while other details are negotiated on Capitol Hill. But Democrats and Republicans roundly dismissed that idea immediately. Republicans had hoped to present a unified Republican plan on July 22nd, but factions within the GOP couldn't reach an agreement, and now they are hoping to have a unified offer to Democrats on Monday. And they were still fighting over numerous provisions late Thursday, including a demand by Senator Lindsey Graham that the legislation allow Americans to sue the Chinese government. Oh, Lindsey. As differences intensified, the White House agreed to scrap Trump's demand to include a payroll tax cut in the package after the provision was met with fierce resistance by Republicans. The delays on Capitol Hill came amid more grim developments about the coronavirus's fierce grip on the U.S. and its economy. There have now been 4 million confirmed cases, blah, 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 blah. The White House and Senate Republicans have floundered for days to map out how they wanted to proceed. They had said they wanted the package to be roughly $1 trillion compared to the $3 trillion package Democrats had called for. So basically, there's kind of negotiations going on right now, but Schumer's going home, meaning the Democrats are going home. I think this is going to expire. I think at the most you'll get $200 extra a week. So think about that for a second, Jen. Let's just use a single mother I interviewed from Arizona. Arizona only offers $250 a week for state unemployment. Some states offer even less than that. So if you're from Arizona and you're getting $250 a week, if you add another $200 a week, meaning the cut from $600 a week down to $250 or $200 a week, that's $450 a week. Times that by 4, that's 4, 8, 12. Wait, 4, 8, 12, 16. So it's like less than $2,000 a month if you're that woman in Arizona. Maybe you can pay rent. Maybe you'll cover rent, but you can't cover every bill. Food, utilities, your kids, groceries, car payment, all that stuff. This is a disaster. And the bigger disaster to me is it's all theater. The Democrats knew this was going to happen. They should have never agreed in the first place to let this expire. They should have had permanent stabilizers so that we weren't facing like a mini debt ceiling standoff where they do this every 4 months. You know, they always say businesses need certainty. Well, what about working people? So Pelosi, Schumer, they agreed to this. And then they cry after the fact, well, the Republicans have the Republicans have the Senate and the Republicans have the White House. This is the best we can get. No, this was not the best you could get in the first place. Should have never even agreed to giving corporate America any money before addressing the immediate need, which was some form of UBI to me, some form of expanded Medicare. Go ahead.
I think it's worth really stressing that the reason a lot of these Republicans and probably some Democrats don't want to keep it at the $600 per week unemployment is because they say it's incentivizing people to stay home because they're getting more sitting on their butts at home than they are actually out there working. But top economists from across the country all agree that that's not the case. That people getting the $600 a month, which is barely livable in a lot of places, is not disincentivizing people to find work. That's just not happening. So the narrative that these Republicans have is completely untrue. And this disproportionately affects Black and brown people. Black and brown people are the ones who tend to have so normally with unemployment, they calculate what your typical wage is. And so then that would be, you would get less than that, but that's like how it would be calculated. So Black and brown people are typically on, or disproportionately, I should say, on the lower end of wages earned. So when they do that calculation, they end up with a lot less unemployment. So if you have like this state unemployment and then this like $200 swooping in on COVID, like it just doesn't work. And they don't care about the needs of everyday people.
Yeah, couldn't say better. And by the way, this idea of you're incentivizing people not to work, where are they going to work even if they wanted to?
Right.
Like,
it's ridiculous.
You're seeing record cases all over the country. Texas and Florida they don't even have any more hospital room. So where are people going to go to work? This idea that you're incentivizing people not to work, there is a pandemic with no vaccine. COVID cases are spiking all over the country. If businesses are open, it's at half capacity. You're not having enough customers in most places to even meet overhead for most businesses. So, I mean, I've talked to people, they're like, yeah, I'm looking for jobs, but there's no jobs. Or the ones that are listed have like 3,000 people applying. So it's just insane. Bottom line, this is all theater. The Democrats could have, and again, the Republicans are in control, so let's not sugarcoat it. They are to blame. But the Democrats should have been in front of cameras and demanding we act weeks ago, not waiting till the last minute and going on, MSN. Now you see these Democrats on MSNBC and CNN, which is essentially their green room because CNN and MSNBC work for the Democratic Party. And they're just, the Republicans have to do something and we need to extend the $600 a month. You want to know something? Even extending the $600 a month is not good enough. We can't keep, a lot of people, I wish there was data on this, haven't gotten the $600 a month that are eligible for it. A sane country would just do the common sense thing and give people during a pandemic immediate universal basic income, replenishable every month, where people don't have to do anything. They just get it. The $1,200 check, okay, is it better than not getting a $1,200 check? Yeah, but it's the same thing as the $1,200 check that came 4 months ago. It's going to be in the door and out the door within 10 seconds. It's not going to help people stay afloat. It's just going to help people pay off the debt that they've been incurring, some of the debt, because people are incurring debt right now. It's just, the whole thing is laughable. And again, my problem with it is the Democrats are just going to get away with it as they always do, pretending that, well, if they were in control, there'd be a lot more. But they're not in control, so let's point to Trump and the Republicans. Yeah, we know Trump and the Republicans can't be depended on. But you didn't have to agree to the original bill. You could have fought the original bill. But no. Again, Nancy, as I always say, Speaker Pelosi drove the getaway car so that McConnell and all of them could rob the Treasury. So it's a bipartisan bank robbery. And by the way, Dave Dayen said this when I interviewed him from the American Prospect. How is this even going to work? So you're going to go from $600 a week, which could barely be administered properly by state unemployment offices that are overrun. Then you're going to cut it down to what they're reporting, $200 extra a week. So how are the state offices going to distribute that? There's going to be a gap and then a differential. So these state unemployment offices are already antiquated with old tech in the first place. So how the hell are people going to get their money efficiently when they need it and without, computation and calculation problems? It's just a disaster. And it just shows you this is the danger when you have mostly white millionaires running the government, because they feel no urgency. Mitch McConnell feels no urgency, and Pelosi, it doesn't seem, feels any urgency. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com, where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.